Before we begin, take a second to subscribe to this channel. If you love hearing stories about rare coins, forgotten treasures, and the secrets hidden in small pieces of metal, then this is the place for you. Hit that button now, so you don't miss the next story that could change the way you look at the coins sitting in your drawer. Now, let's talk about a coin that most people would walk past without a second glance. A small silver-colored piece of history, born in a country that was itself going through one of the most powerful transformations in modern times. The year was 1994, and South Africa stood at the edge of a new era. The air was electric with change, with hope, and with the feeling that nothing would ever be the same again. In that same year, a humble 1 rand coin was minted. To most people, it was just money, a simple, everyday piece used to buy bread, pay for parking, or sit jingling in the pockets of men waiting in long lines at local shops. But as we know, not all coins are created equal. Some carry a story so rich, so layered, that their true worth only reveals itself decades later. The 1994 1 rand coin represents more than currency. It represents transition. It marks the moment when South Africa stepped into democracy, when Nelson Mandela became president, and when an entire nation began writing a new chapter in its identity. That makes this coin more than just metal. It's a symbol of history itself. If you look closely at one of these coins, you'll notice its modest but proud design. The front side features the springbok, South Africa's national animal, slim, strong, and elegant. That antelope had appeared on many rand coins before, but in 1994, it seemed to stand taller, as if aware that it was witnessing something extraordinary. The back of the coin carries the South African coat of arms, a design that connects deeply with the country's traditions and spirit. Now, here's where things start to get interesting. Like all coins, the 1994 1 rand was mass-produced, but only a fraction of them were struck under special conditions. Most were circulated, used in everyday life, tossed into change jars, or lost in couch cushions. But a small number were minted with extraordinary precision, kept in pristine condition, and stored in protective cases. These rare specimens are the ones that collectors now chase across the world. To the average person, the 1 rand coin is nothing special. You might even have handled one yourself at some point without realizing what you were holding. But to a serious numismatist, a coin collector, this piece represents a turning point. It's a coin that captures a moment when history changed direction, when the old world ended and a new one began. And that kind of symbolism makes collectors' hearts race. Men who grew up in that era remember it vividly. They remember the news headlines, the speeches, the emotions of the time. The 1994 rand was a witness to all of it. Think about it. Every coin minted that year was a silent observer, passing from one hand to another as the world transformed. Each one holds the fingerprints of that historic transition. Over the years, people have come to realize that coins like these are more than metal, they're storytellers. Each scratch, each shine, each preserved edge speaks of where it's been. And when you find one in perfect condition, untouched by time, you're not just holding a coin. You're holding a relic that connects you to a nation's rebirth. Collectors across the world have been searching for the 1994 1 rand with specific minting marks, especially those in uncirculated or proof condition. The rarity lies in the details. Tiny variations invisible to the untrained eye, small differences in texture, luster, or strike. Some were minted in smaller numbers than others, and those few are now among the most sought-after South African coins ever produced. For men who appreciate history, who know the value of legacy and craftsmanship, this coin has a special allure. It reminds them of endurance, of how nations, like men, can weather storms and emerge stronger. Many collectors describe owning one as owning a piece of South Africa's soul. The story doesn't end there. What really makes this coin remarkable is not just its symbolism or design, but what has happened to its value over the years. What once bought a loaf of bread or a cup of tea now carries a price tag that would have seemed impossible back then. While thousands of 1 rand coins were minted in 1994, only a handful remain in immaculate condition, sealed away, and preserved like treasures. And when one of those rare coins appears on the market, collectors pay attention. Auctions light up, bidding wars begin, and history itself takes center stage. It's not about metal, it's about meaning. It's about owning a piece of time. Some of these coins have changed hands quietly, between private collectors. Others have made headlines when sold to passionate buyers willing to pay astonishing amounts. And that's where today's story reaches its climax. Because one of these rare 1994 South African 1 Rand coins, minted during the dawn of democracy, preserved flawlessly, and kept untouched for decades, has been valued at an incredible $35,900. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1 Rand coin from 1994 worth 35,900 US dollars today. Imagine that. Something once small enough to slip into your wallet, now worth more than some cars, more than a year's salary for many people. It's the kind of discovery that makes collectors' hearts beat faster and keeps treasure hunters searching through old drawers and dusty boxes. So the next time you come across an old South African coin, don't dismiss it. Look closely. Feel its weight. Think about the stories it could tell. Because sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest histories. And you never know, you might just be holding something far more valuable than you ever imagined. If you enjoyed this story, remember to subscribe and stay tuned. There are countless coins like this, each with its own secret, waiting to be uncovered. And who knows, the next great discovery might be sitting right in the palm of your hand. Before we dive into today's incredible story, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on rare coin discoveries, historical treasures, and the secret wealth that might be hiding in your drawer right now. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever held a coin in your hand that felt different? Not just in weight or shine, but in presence? The kind of coin that seems to whisper a story, that carries not just metal, but history. Today, we're diving into one such piece. A coin minted in 1966 in South Africa. A coin that many have seen, some have forgotten, but few truly understand. The 1 Rand coin, a year that carried its own storm of change. Around the world, nations were shifting, power was moving, and in South Africa, a coin was born. 1 Rand. At first glance, you might think it's just another piece of silver, another national currency, a simple means of transaction. But what if I told you that this coin carries far more than value in rands or cents? What if I told you that this coin, this very piece, has been appraised in some cases at up to 3 million US dollars? It sounds unbelievable, right? That a single coin, minted in the heart of apartheid-era South Africa, could hold a fortune that could change someone's life in an instant. But to understand how and why, you have to travel back with me. Back to the beginning. The 1 Rand coin was introduced as part of South Africa's changeover to the decimal currency system in 1961, replacing the pound-based system. But by 1966, just 5 years into this new system, South Africa had already begun making history with its coinage. What sets the 1966 1 Rand coin apart isn't just its metal, though it is indeed struck in 80% silver, making it desirable to collectors and bullion investors alike. It's not even just the image on it, though the proud springbok antelope leaping across the reverse side is a symbol known around the world. No, what makes this coin special is far more subtle. It's the details, the mint marks, the limited production, the specific flaws in certain dyes, the political timing, the quiet phasing out of silver content just years later. The historical moment, frozen in metal, during a period of tension, transition, and isolation for South Africa on the world stage. Collectors know something that most people don't. History speaks loudest through small things. Paper crumbles, statues fall, but coins endure. They are pocket-sized monuments to power, regime, culture, and struggle. The 1966 1 Rand is a perfect example. It's more than a coin. It's a chapter, a symbol of a government trying to assert its identity amid international sanctions and internal resistance. It's a representation of value in a time when values were under pressure. And for those who know what to look for, it's a potential gold mine. You see, not every 1966 1 Rand is worth millions. That's important. But some are. The secret lies in rarity. A few specific coins from that year, due to limited mint runs, mint errors, or condition, are so scarce that collectors across the globe are ready to pay unimaginable amounts. These aren't just people with money to burn. These are serious numismatists, historians, and investors who understand the value of provenance, perfection, and scarcity. Imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer, going through a family box of keepsakes. A watch, a medal, a photograph. And there, lying quietly in the corner, is a 1966 1 rand coin. It's got some weight to it. You remember seeing one like it when you were younger. Maybe your father carried it, or your grandfather. Maybe you picked it up at a market years ago and never thought twice. But what if that coin, right there in your palm, was worth more than your house? What if it was the key to a retirement you only dreamed of? What if it was one of the rare, perfect, untouched 1966 rands that collectors whisper about in private forums and closed auctions? Now you might be thinking, that's all well and good, but why would someone pay so much for a coin? And the answer is simple. The same reason someone pays millions for a painting, or a vintage car, or a rare bottle of wine. It's not just about the item. It's about the story, the legacy, the impossibility of finding another. True rarity can't be manufactured. It only happens once. And when it does, it becomes priceless. But here's the thing. Value doesn't come only from scarcity. It comes from condition. A well-worn coin might still be worth something. But if you happen to have one in pristine or uncirculated condition, you're entering another league entirely. Those coins, especially if they feature a rare die variety, can break auction records. And they have. There was once a story of a man who discovered a rare South African coin in a family collection. It sat there for decades. He thought it was interesting, maybe worth a few $100s. When he finally had it appraised, the coin was valued at over $3 million US. Not because of a miracle, but because of knowledge, rarity, and timing. That is the power of numismatics. That is the power of history, sealed in silver, forgotten in drawers, waiting to be rediscovered. So I ask you, what's in your collection? What's in your drawer? That old box you haven't opened in years, it might just be holding the key to a hidden fortune. Now, as promised, let me give you the current estimated value of the rarest version of the 1966 1 rand South African coin. In verified auctions and under the right conditions, this coin, if in flawless mint state and with the rare features collectors seek, has been valued at up to $3 million US. 3 million. One coin. So before you toss aside that old coin, remember, the past isn't always gone. Sometimes, it's just hiding in your pocket. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you've got a 1966 1 rand coin at home, you might just want to take a closer look tonight. Before we go any further, if you enjoy stories of rare coins, untold history, and treasures hiding in plain sight, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now. Don't miss out on future discoveries. This journey is just getting started. Let's take a trip down memory lane. Not just to a year, but to a moment frozen in metal. Imagine holding a piece of history in the palm of your hand. A coin that has passed through hands, pockets, safes, and maybe even your own without you ever realizing its true worth. This is the story of the 1991 rand coin from South Africa. A simple, silver-colored piece of currency that, for most people, meant very little back then, but today could mean a small fortune. Close your eyes for a moment and think about what 1990 looked like. The world was changing fast. Nelson Mandela was released from prison after 27 years. South Africa was on the brink of a new era. People were uncertain, hopeful, scared, and excited all at once. Amidst all this tension and transformation, coins were still being minted, bills still being printed, and life went on, quietly, but with deep significance. The 1 rand coin minted that year wasn't meant to stand out. It was part of everyday life. You might have used it to buy a loaf of bread, a cold drink, or a newspaper on a quiet morning. But not all coins are created equal. Some carry a silent secret, a rare feature, a small imperfection, or perhaps a limited run that escapes the public's eye until decades later. That's what makes collecting so powerful. It's not about what something looks like, but what it represents, where it's been, and how rare it truly is. The 1991 rand coin is made of nickel-plated copper with a springbok on the reverse side. a proud symbol of South African heritage. The obverse features the image of Jan van Riebeeck, the Dutch colonial administrator often recognized as the founding figure of Cape Town. To the untrained eye, it's just another coin. But to the collector who knows what to look for, this coin can trigger the pulse of discovery. Coins tell stories that textbooks often forget. This one speaks of a nation on the edge of revolution, of a people struggling toward unity, of the end of apartheid, and the hope for reconciliation. Even the coins of that era carry the weight of that legacy, whether they were meant to or not. Now imagine this. Somewhere in a box, tucked away in a drawer or a jar, one of these coins could be sitting right now, forgotten, maybe even tarnished with time. And yet, someone with the right knowledge could unlock its true potential. That's what's fascinating about rare coins. Sometimes it's not about the age, but the timing. 1990 may not seem that long ago to some, but in numismatic terms, it's already becoming vintage. For many of us, the idea of treasure hunting feels like something from a movie. Pirates, maps, hidden caves. But the truth is, treasures are all around us. They might be hidden in the folds of your old wallet, tucked in the glove box of your first car, or jingling at the bottom of a forgotten jar in your garage. And often, the most valuable things are the ones we've looked at 1,000 times, never realizing what they're truly worth. Here's what makes the 1991 Rand coin so special. It's not just the design or the mint year. It's the rarity in its condition, the low number of surviving high-quality specimens, and the increasing interest from collectors both within South Africa and around the world. This is a coin that carries weight, not just literally, but historically. And as demand continues to grow, so does the price. Collectors love coins that tell a story, and this one whispers of political change, of transition, and of an era that shaped a continent. That's what makes it magnetic. It's not about the metal, it's about the memory. This coin witnessed a year that changed South Africa forever, and holding it now is like holding a piece of that transformation in your hand. Over the past decade, coin collecting has surged in popularity, especially among those who appreciate the deeper meanings behind small things. Men, especially those in their late 50s to mid-60s, are rediscovering the joy of tangible history. You've seen the world shift, you've watched technology explode, and maybe now you crave something you can hold, something real, something that connects you back to moments in your past. That's what coins can do. They bring history full circle. You might remember using a 1 Rand coin in the early 90s without thinking twice. Maybe you had a few saved, or maybe they disappeared with time. But if you still have one, it might be worth checking again. Because now, after years of silence, the 1991 Rand coin is making noise in the collector's world. Prices for these coins have soared, but only for those in excellent condition. Specifically, uncirculated or proof-like examples. These are the ones that were either never used or were stored in a way that preserved every detail, every edge, every line. And here's the twist. One of these coins, in pristine condition, recently made headlines not just for being rare, but for being valuable. Very valuable. Now, for the moment you've been waiting for. How much could this small piece of metal actually be worth today? In the right condition, with the right buyer, the 1991 Rand coin has been valued at a staggering 56,000 US dollars. Yes, you heard that right. 56,000. For a single coin that many overlooked, tossed aside, or spent without a second thought. It goes to show, sometimes the greatest value is hiding in plain sight. So take a look in your old drawers, revisit those coin jars, and ask yourself, could you be holding something priceless without even knowing it? If nothing else, you now know what to look for. And if you're lucky, that quiet coin from 1990 might just become the most valuable thing you've ever owned. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe. There's a whole world of stories just like this waiting to be uncovered. And who knows, the next one might just be in your own pocket.